What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how to get ready for a autocross event or open track day. One quick disclaimer though, the information I cover in this video is going to be at the very basic level, so it's mainly geared at people who have never done any type of motorsport event. In addition, there probably will be some things I miss, but I think the information I'm giving you guys will be enough to get you ready. There are three main things to consider when getting ready for an event. First of all, you have to find the event. Secondly, you have to get the car ready. Thirdly is a combination of bringing the right stuff with you and getting yourself ready. Well, let's just hop into that list. The first thing to do is find an event. Finding an event is actually pretty easy. You can use Google or even look up Facebook groups. Another option, which is my personal favorite, is using Motorsport Reg. That website is like a search engine for local motorsport events happening in your area, and it's completely free to the end user. I'll make sure to put the link to the motorsportreg.com website in the description below so you can easily find it. Now the next thing is getting your car ready. Each organization typically has different safety rules, but at the base they want certain things like battery tie downs, no excessive fluid leaks, tires that are in good shape, and other things of that nature. We'll go into a little bit more detail now. So we'll start off by talking about the fluids. Pretty much just want to make sure that there's no excessive fluid leaks. I will say some places are stricter about this than others. The reason for that is pretty simple. If you have a oil leak, even a fuel leak, those can cause fires. If you have something like coolant leaking onto the track and it's glycol based, it could potentially damage the track. As I mentioned though, it can vary from place to place, but odds are if you just have a minor leak from the oil pan, you're gonna be okay. A very common thing I see is things like the brake fluid and the clutch fluid not being changed at regular intervals. I would say the big thing is just making sure that your fluids are fresh, and by that I don't mean you have to change the fluids out every time you go out to an event. You just have to make sure that they're changed according to your maintenance schedule. Quick thing, you'll also want to make sure that your throttle return spring works well. That's pretty important because if that breaks, your car will be stuck at wide open throttle and you'll have to get that fixed before you can continue the event. Also, at most events, you're going to want to take out the spare tire. They do that as a safety thing because it can become a projectile. Another thing that every place I've been to is very strict about is having a good battery tie down. You do not want this to go flying anywhere. Again, it can become a projectile and that's not a fun time. Another really common thing is when you go to an event, they actually require you to empty out your car. And as I've mentioned like 5 times in this video, that's just because you don't want things flying around, as that can be very dangerous. That will also include your floor mats. It's actually possible for your floor mats to go up and obstruct the brake pedal or gas pedal, so it's best just to remove those. For stock cars like my MR2, there's not really much to the interior outside of emptying it. The only thing I'd tell you to consider is possibly getting a fire extinguisher mounted. Depending on your vehicle, you could probably buy a pre-made fire extinguisher bracket, so you just bolt it on in and it's good to go. A pretty important thing is making sure your suspension and whatnot is in good order. So you'll definitely want to come through, make sure that the tie rod does not have excessive play, the end links. You're going to want to check to see if the bushings are torn. Quick pro tip. Let's just say your lower control arms are loose or anything like that. I would recommend you jack it up probably around the hub area. That way, when you snug the bolts down and then lower the car, the bushings don't bind and possibly rip. When you're here, you're also going to want to make sure things like the brakes are good. As you can actually see, I have some weird wear on my rotors, so that's actually something I just realized. Looking at it, I actually think it's a rock. It's kind of stupid, but it's whatever. I'll replace it and it's good to go. So one other important thing is making sure that your tires are in good shape. As you can see with this tire here, there's actually a lot of feathering on this side when you compare it to this other side. Now that's pretty unusual wear, although these tires have been autocrossing and that feathering is due to the rollover. If you see some odd wear like that on your tires and you haven't been doing any type of events, you should probably look at your alignment. Maybe you have a toe issue. That's my first guess. Caster, maybe something with the camber. Odd tire wear is typically attributed to alignment issues. So that's the basic lowdown on getting the car itself ready for an event. The last thing is going to be a combination of getting yourself ready and then bringing the right stuff. So we'll cover the things you should probably bring first. This is a quick lowdown of the mechanical things I bring. So I always bring a poncho because you never know. Coolant. I also bring a emergency side road kit, some miscellaneous hand tools, tire gauge. I also bring chalk. I also bring my jack and jack stands just in case. Can't show you that right now because it's actually under the car. Let me show you one of the cool reasons why you should bring chalk to an event. When you are going through a turn, the tires will naturally roll over. So if you put some chalk on there, you can see exactly how much the tire is rolling over. The way you would do this is just place some chalk marks randomly along the sidewall, and that will give you a good indication. Sometimes upping the tire pressure is enough to alleviate that. Other times it could just be a combination of the suspension and how soft the sidewalls are on that given tire. Now for the things you'll want to bring for yourself, you'll definitely want water, food or snacks, something to sit in, and sunscreen. Plenty of sunscreen because you'll be in the sun all day. Now getting yourself ready for the event is actually pretty simple. Just make sure you're very well rested, you've eaten well that morning. It may not seem like it, but when you're driving a car at the very limit for an extended period of time, it actually gets tiring. Also, if you're doing an autocross event, costs are kept so low because participants themselves work the event. So odds are you're going to be fetching cones or something like that. So just to reiterate, make sure you get plenty of sleep and eat well. I see it all too often where people come to events hungover and they don't exactly have the best time because of that. Anyways, guys, that's a very basic rundown of how to be prepared for your first autocross event. I know there's probably going to be some things I missed, such as noise levels. Some places are very, very strict on them. I've actually been kicked one time because my car was too loud. Other places do not care. So it's important that whatever organization you run with, you try to figure out their specific rules. That includes classing. Some of the places I run with go by SCCA rules. Other places have their own set of rules completely. Anyways, if you have any questions about getting started, you can leave those down in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer them, but if I don't know the answer, I will be honest and let you know that. Well, with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.